considered cool and at top of his game. No more. Trump derangement syndrome has broken Robert De Niro's brain, and he seems determined to continue to embarrass himself campaigning for the Democrats. Exactly who is this convincing?
Them? No. But in Declare, we all fam. What? In Declare, we all fam. In the club, we are all family.
Now to trans activist Jeffrey Marsh, and he has a lot of videos about cutting contact with your parents, cutting contact with your family members, loved ones, and he's just found another reason to do that.
Should you cut off contact with family members just because they are voting for Donald Trump? Yes. If so far they have not been able or willing to listen to compassion, to listen to kindness, to listen to you, or even to do their own research and discover that hatred's not the answer, that love and kindness is the answer. If they are unwilling to change, they must experience consequences.
Ooh, it's terrifying. They must face consequences for what? Wanting a strong economy, secure borders, safe cities, for wanting men out of women's sports and women's spaces. Let's see what else old mate Jeffrey has to say. I'm a little scared.
And you should not withhold those consequences from them. The consequence in this case would be they don't get your beautiful, loving, wonderful presence in their lives. It's over. And they are gone.
That's the modern left for you folks, mad as cut snakes, and somehow fooling themselves into thinking they are tolerant and inclusive. Now, another celebrity brought in to push the Kamala bandwagon is pop star Billie Eilish. She stars in this cringy little video with Mr. Kamala, Doug Knock 'em out, Umhoff, and his daughter, who I'm told is a model, and there's also some other dude in the video I've never seen before.
Hey everyone, second gentleman here. We've got to all get out there and make sure you're registered and make sure you're voting early for my wife and Kamala Harris for President of the United States.
You can go to iwillvote.com to check your polling place.
And make sure to vote early, like I will.
Get your voting early and vote for
Kamala!
And here is another celebrity endorsement, this time from Lizzo. President, hey! Oh my God, no.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. You're fighting for democracy for this country. I know it's hard, but you're so close. You're almost there.
We are. You are perfect, and I thank you for that.
Let's win this.
We will, sis, okay?
Go on. And listen here as pop star Lizzo says that voting for the Democrats would turn America into Detroit, and that's a good thing.
I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud like Detroit. Resilient like Detroit.
Yes, let's have the crime through the roof, have the decay, the destruction that you see in Detroit, the fact that so many are fleeing the joint. Yeah, really, do we want to turn America into that? And one more celebrity endorsement before we get some AOC craziness. Here is Usher, who only a few weeks ago declined to do any sort of political messaging, any sort of political endorsement, but now, here he is.
I'm supporting Vice President Harris because she fights for everyone's rights, for freedom. And it doesn't matter where you're from. She has a vision for our country that includes everyone. We've lived through some very unfortunate realities of our past. However, we must learn from those moments and understand that the voice that we have makes the difference that we want to see. We have to strive to not allow our past to define our future.
Did he say that? Did he really say that? Now Donald Trump's genius move to do some work experience at McDonald's was hugely successful. Normal folk liked it and thought it was funny. Of course, he's mocking Kamala Harris for pretending she once worked there. No evidence of that has been found so far. But the left are having an almighty meltdown about Trump's Mecca appearance, and AOC has decided he was mocking those who work at McDonald's. She's always so cluelessly wrong about everything and hysterical.
Donald Trump putting on a little McDonald's costume because he thinks that's what people do. They're not trying to empathize with us. They are making fun of us. They are making fun of us. Donald Trump thinks that people who work at McDonald's are a joke.
And here is the woman herself, Kamala Harris, earlier today. And yes, we got another word salad about aspirations, dreams, hopes.
We have to tap into and rejoice, frankly, in the spirit of who we are as Americans. And we are an ambitious people. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We are optimistic by nature. And we, I think, value certain qualities in our leaders.
Now, Tim Walz was on The View today, and it was precisely what you'd expect, a softball, boring, and at times unhinged affair. I watched it, so you don't have to. You're welcome. Here are 3 highlights. Let's start with Whoopi Goldberg, proving to the world that she doesn't understand election laws, and she's also here lashing out at Elon Musk.
And this, people keep trying to buy the election.
Yeah.
Billionaire Elon Musk has gone all in for you-know-who, and now he's giving out $1 million a day to people who sign his super PAC's petition. What? Now, I thought that was against the law, but apparently they've found some new loop stuff that allow this to go. I thought you couldn't do this. What's happening?
Well, I think that's what you do when you have no plan for the public, when you have no economic plan that's going to benefit the middle class, when you have no plan to protect reproductive rights, when you have no plan to address climate change and produce American energy, you go to these type of tactics. It's all about distraction.
There's a concept of a plan.
Yeah.
Aren't these tactics against the law, though? Aren't you?
Well, I'll let the lawyers decide.
Elon has found some new loop stuff. Even someone as dense as Tim Walz knows that's not against the law, but he doesn't say it there, does he? Of course, it's not against the law to incentivize people to sign a petition. It's a petition, not a ballot. And given the Democrats have a big problem with male voters, why would they send Walz to a program watched by no men and no sane women either, really? At least they gave him a present.
So we've got The View and a dad in class.
That's the single greatest thing I've ever got.
So that's for you to freshen up that wardrobe a little.
And if you win, will you wear it back and come back and visit us? When you win, will you wear it
Yes,
back
I'm
and come
wearing
back
it.
and
That's
visit
what I was going to say. You know I'm wearing this.
And finally, here is Tim Walz claiming that he is a better shot than Republicans and has the trophies to prove it. If you believe that, you'll believe anything.
So you're out hunting pheasants.
Yep.
Is that enough to convince people there's a middle ground on this issue? Because right now, right wingers are coming after you for how you handle your shotgun.
Well, I can shoot better than all of them. I guarantee it. I got the trophies to prove it.
And here is some great advice from Kamala Harris telling her supporters to be just like Jimmy Carter. Go out and vote early, followed by mad cackling, naturally.
So look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too.
Jimmy Carter voted early. We did have the Washington Post claiming he's very excited about Kamala. Let's check in on Jimmy Carter. This is the former president on his 100th birthday, just a few weeks ago, hopefully enjoying a military flyover. Shame on his family for putting him on display in that state. Whatever you think of him, he was a former president. He deserves a little dignity. You'd think his family would be watching out for him. Joe Biden's family has been accused of elder abuse over the years, but then you hear a speech like this from Joe and you suddenly stop feeling sorry for him. Before the cognitive decline, he was a dishonest scrote, and he's still a dishonest scrote. Here he is earlier today, expressing a desire to lock up Donald Trump.
Well, because he means it. This is not a joke. This is a guy who also wants to replace every civil servant, every single one. Thinks he has a right under the Supreme Court ruling on immunity to be able, if need be, if it was the case, to actually physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who he believes to be a threat to him. I mean, so I know this sounds bizarre. It sounds like I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We gotta lock him up. Politically lock him up.
Did he just claim that Donald Trump wants to shoot and kill someone he perceives as a threat? Joe Biden is again inciting violence against President Trump, even after 2 assassination attempts in 2 months. Appalling. And now let's check in on the man who some very astute observers believe has been the one pulling the puppet strings throughout the Biden-Harris administration's reign. Old mate Barack Obama just can't understand how we got so toxic.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter. And I get why sometimes people just don't want to pay attention to it.
The chutzpah of that man never fails to astound. It's like an arsonist holding a match saying, I don't understand why it's hot all of a sudden. Where do these flames come from? Look in the mirror, champ. Okay, I've tried to avoid this for as long as I can, but here is some local lefties losing its contact. Senator Lydia Thorpe launching into an unhinged tirade against King Charles.
You committed genocide against our people. Give us our land back. Give us what you stole from us. Our bones, our skulls,
Well, this is a fuckwit Australian complaining because King Charles was in Australia visiting. Not that really none of us really give a fuck about the monarch, but she reckons it's her land because she's Aboriginal, but she's only about 1% Aboriginal.
Now, this Lefties Losing It segment gets millions of views every week around the world. We have a massive audience overseas, and they'll be shocked to learn that Lydia Thorpe, yes, the screaming banshee you just saw, is a senator in the Australian Parliament.
I will not stand for racism in my workplace.
You are not helping the situation.
And the Prime Minister knows exactly what he's doing. He wants the fascists to come out and get me. So where is my support? Fuck you.
Finally, here is Senator Lydia Thorpe doing some of her best work outside a strip club in Melbourne. This was just last year.
You know what I say? You know what I say to you? You know what I say to you? And you? It's penis. A black man that stands with a white little like that, you can all get too.
Someone get in Parliament like you.
We've been oppressed all our life in this country, and you let this little dog and you are marked.
It just seems like a good time. But sadly, Senator Lydia Thorpe received a lifetime ban from that particular establishment. Maxine's Gentlemen's Club in Brunswick will no longer allow her entry. Sad. Okay, let's go back to laughing at lefties losing it overseas. Here is a racist lefty in America. You know how she's voting.
What's more dangerous, straight white conservative men or axe murderers?
A straight white conservative man.
Why is he more dangerous?
Because they're capable of doing anything. They're crazy.
What makes them crazy?
They're white.
You don't think that's racist at all?
No.
And here is another woman backing Kamala because she thinks Donald Trump will take her birth control away.
If you were to vote for anybody in 2024, who is it going to be?
Kamala Harris.
Why is that?
Because I like having rights.
Having rights.
I'm gay, and I enjoy being able to marry who I want, be open about that at work. I'm also a woman. I take birth control. I like being able to do that.
Why do you need birth control if you're a woman? And you're with a lesbian woman?
Gay women lose
I don't know.
Donald Trump's administration, and why would he want her to stop taking birth control? She's a lesbian. Why is she taking birth control? The whole thing is confusing me. Now, this lady has really isolated
Some
the
fuckwits.
most important thing in this campaign. You better listen to her, you pack of sexist pigs.
Regardless of who you're voting for, stop referring to our presidential candidate as just Kamala. It's Kamala Harris. We do not talk about the other person running and say Donald, right? We don't just say Donald. Maybe we should. Maybe we should start calling him Donnie. But up until this point, people have only felt comfortable referring to women in power by just their first names because they do not respect women in power. They did the same exact thing to Clinton. So if you have an ounce of feminism in your body, at the very least, say Kamala Harris.
Oh dear, doesn't it just fill you with warmth and confidence knowing that folks like that vote? Here is a couple wanting to send conservatives to re-education camp. Just feel the tolerance and empathy here.
We're trying to send conservatives to re-education camps to be more accepting.
Yeah.
You want to sign that? Oh, hell yeah. All right. So you would support taking their rights away and sending them to the camps forcefully?
100%.
Yeah, because they're trying to do that to us, so like...
Would you be in support of banning conservatives from voting?
I feel like everyone has a right to vote.
Oh, you're taking their rights away to a re-education camp.
That is true.
Now, this next clip may have a little creative input. We will check in with the lip readers on what was actually said, but I like to think it was something like this.
So is Kamala doing okay?
No. She's down, Joe. And now we're basically Trump is killing us at the polls. So yes, we're going to lose Joe.
Damn it. Wait. What if I come back to run again?
As candidate?
Yeah.
Well, no, Joe.
On, man.
You're not
Just
going
give
back
another
yet.
shot.
Let's let it all play out. Okay, we'll talk later, Joe.
Okay.
Women looking fine up in here.
Gosh, the Democrats are getting desperate. They're conjuring up more fake news about Hitler, the military, and sending out more celebrities.
I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to express their opinions. And I don't think anyone wants an America where people are worried about retribution or what people will do if you make your opinion known. I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld.
Just inspiring stuff there from Eminem. You probably didn't know it was him because you can see his face. Yeah, the most anti-free speech, pro-censorship candidate is the one who's going to protect our freedoms. Well done, Eminem. And his entire speech went for about a minute. I don't know why he even bothered to show up, but it certainly got Barack excited.
I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting. Dun, 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 dun. I thought Eminem was going to be preferred. I was going to jump out. Love me some Eminem.
Oh gosh, I should have given you a cringe warning before that clip. I do apologize. He's a big fan of Eminem, really. Don't the Democrats tell us words are violence and misogynistic, violent lyrics about women are unacceptable? But they're happy with this.
I don't want to hear no woman, but this chick's got it coming. Someone better get this before she gets kicked in the stomach.
We talk about safety and security. Well, when we do that, let's also always remember the violence against women.
You don't like it, then pill off. Every last woman on earth I'll kill off, and I still would. I'm sick of this. Sick of nagging bosses while I'm washing dishes.
Women will endure almost any abuse.
So I tie the hose and legs to the bed, set up the camera, twice on a look, 2 peas and a tripod.
Love me some Eminem.
You know what? I used to love me some Eminem too before he became so lame that he became a parody of himself, and not even a funny parody like this.
I'm sorry, lady. I never meant to hurt you. Put your pride flames high to walls. It's coming out the closet. One more time.
Superb. You must change all those lyrics and make them Democrat friendly. Let's hear more from the Hangover Gang doing Eminem.
This looks like a job for me. I don't care about the economy. I'm a billionaire, so if you're me, it don't matter who wins the presidency.
You want to know why they're getting increasingly desperate with all this fake Hitler news and the celebrity endorsement? It's because they're losing.
Yo, Kamala, Tim, come up here for this one. Two idiots going around me outside, round me outside, round me outside.
As for the woman herself, the Veep is again engaging in the most reckless, inflammatory rhetoric about President Donald Trump, claiming that the most pro-Israel president we've seen, the man who has a daughter and grandchildren who are Jewish, is some Hitler-admiring, military-hating threat to democracy who's going to use the military to go after anyone critical of him.
He would use the United States military to go after American citizens. And let's be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within. Anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify, in his mind, as the enemy within, like judges, like journalists, like nonpartisan election officials. It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who's responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans. All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is.
Yes, they are desperate, all right, and it shows. Here's Kamala Harris earlier today on CNN saying she thinks Donald Trump is a fascist.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I also believe that the people who know him best on this subject should be trusted.
Absolutely disgusting antics there. The people who know him best, what, the handful of miscreants that were sacked? Is that who she's talking about? And continuing the fascist line, here is Cringe on Pierre, also doing her bit to possibly incite the next leftist nutter to try to assassinate Donald Trump.
And to be praising Adolf Hitler is dangerous and it's also disgusting.
So just to be clear, when you said we do agree, President Biden believes that Donald Trump is a fascist.
I mean, yes, what you said, he said himself. The former president has said he is going to be a dictator on day one.
You know, the Democrats and VP Harris seem to be devoid of joy these days. In fact, Kamala Harris is reminding me of someone.
Sick and tired of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous vision and behavior. People who support Donald Trump, it's time for us to say no. We are not going backwards.
Oh dear, let's hear from a woman who is trying to inject some joy, some frivolity into Kamala's rally, but all she ends up doing is treating the crowd like they're simpletons. This is how you talk to toddlers, not adults.
If you know it, I'm going to sing it. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum. Hey, that's really good. Okay, let's try something different. That's 3 syllables, right? I've got another word with 3 syllables. It's ka-ma-la. You want to try it? All right, let's go. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum. Ka-ma-la.
Oh dear, I could not stand that. I would lose my mind having to listen to that for any longer than we just heard. Now let's go to MSNBC and watch what happens when a panelist says something actually truthful about the economy. Watch the panic and the gaslighting that followed.
The contrast could not be more stark. Yes, we have a dismal economy, but we are also facing the prospect of fascism. And actually, the economy isn't even that dismal. Things are rebounding, but everyone is talking about the economy. But in fact, we are actually facing the real premise and specter of fascism.
I think on the economy, too, all the data suggests that that's not the case, but there's a feels issue with the economy. Things feel expensive. People feel bad about it. And even if they don't feel bad about their personal economy, they feel bad or worry about their kids or their neighbors
or others. And yes, that is throughout history, Angelo, a ripe climate for an autocrat, which is exactly what Project 2025 ushers in.
It just feels expensive, folks. The economy's great. You're not really struggling to pay your bills. It's just the vibe. It's the feels. But MSNBC got a shock when they spoke to Arab Americans about who they're backing. No one put up their hand for Kamala.
Who's voting for Kamala Harris here? Absolutely no.
No. Not possible.
There's nothing she can do or say for us to change our mind.
And here's an unhinged academic saying men who don't vote for Kamala must be sexist and should be shot.
There are going to be some males in our society that will refuse to vote for a potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. We could line all those guys up and shoot them. They clearly don't understand the way the world works. Did I say that? Scratch that from the recording. I don't want the deans hearing that I said that.
And that's it from me. I'll see you Sunday morning for Outsiders.